So, welcome to all of you. Peace. That's what we're going to be striving for. That's what we're going to be walking with. Peace. We dwell in the complete presence of God and experience the divine's love for us. We are held accountable for our sins in the midst of the community so that we can be examples poured out for the world. That's the definition, that's the idea that we're going to be working with through Lent. First portion that we're going to be working with tonight, presence. Being in the presence of God. Okay, I'm not entertaining anymore. I was getting looked at like, wow, you're so fun. Presence. So as we walk through the next 5 weeks, we're going to fill in all those words, which were up there. Are we not all seeking peace? Balance. Accord in our lives in some form. The usual pattern is in life that we go and go and go and go and go, and then we start to hit exhaustion and frustration and energy drain, and then our body halts us. We get sick, we collapse, we get put down, and then we have to get up again. And then we start that cycle all over. Day after day after day, the existence of trudging through, waiting for the weekend, waiting for the day off. To get back up and do it again. I love the meme that usually shows up on my Facebook feed, usually every Friday, where it's God looking down at heaven going, Friday's just another day. Why is everybody so thankful that I made it? Because that's the last day of school. Well, there you go. But as we're going through this day after day after day, we wake up one day and realize the loss or the emptiness or the regret. I mean, look, Red Bull may give us wings, but flying like that can suck us dry after a while. So then we go on this quest, this search, this desire for peace, balance, hope, renewal. The wilderness of Lent, with its starkness, and supposed, though not really anymore, slowed reality, is meant to do just that, to draw us back into the self, back into the center, back to the basis, to give us some sense of grounding, some sense of foundation and direction. We really do yearn for it. See how many times I do that tonight. We really do yearn for it. The liturgies and rituals of life that seem so mundane, but they keep us in balance. They restore us and renew us. How many of you just want to go home, sit on the couch with your blanket, and veg for a while?
I want to play video games.
How many of you want to do that? How many of you have a favorite blanket or favorite fuzzy slippers? You just want to curl up on the couch and watch reruns of Home Alone and you're fine. Right? Why do we do that? Why do we do that? What's underneath it? Security, comfort, safety, reset, recharge. We do that to grasp some form of balance. How do we get that sense of comfort and safety? How do we strive to live that peace all the time? Or much of the time? Now, like I've said, I've broken this word peace down to its 5 individual letters. An acrostic. On each word I want to expand on this notion. Tonight is presence. I want to use this word in 2 ways. I want to talk first about your presence now, and then whose presence you're in. Okay. First, your presence now. You are where you are. You with me? You're probably like, well, duh, Pastor. I mean, I'm not at Hades having ice cream. But really, you are where you are. You see, our minds, they want to go back to where we were. This is where regret lies. They want to go back to the past. I should have. I could have. What if I did this or that? What if I responded this way? What if I responded that way? We spend a lot of time dissecting our past. And not just the past few minutes, but the past few days, and the past few weeks, and the past few months, maybe even the past few years or decades. You are where you are, but we spend a great deal of time, more so than is necessary, in the past. Is the past important for us? Yes, we learn from it. But do we need to spend the amount of time we do in it? Lord in heavens, no. This is our present now. We are not what we did. We are not our bad decisions. We are not our failures. We are not our past. And we are not sentenced to live in our regrets. Living in our regrets will not bring about peace. Regret is a powerful, painful thing. God has forgiven us. God just forgave us. We heard those words. We hear them all the time. And we hear them for a reason. Not only does God forgive us, but God does not desire us to dwell in the past. So we spend much time in our past, in our regret. Remember, you are where you are. And we also spend as much time in our future, which breeds anxiety. We think about what's next. What's coming up next? How many of you kind of have like one part of your mind on, what am I going to do when I get home? Do I need to get something in the grocery store? How many of you go to bed at night thinking, oh, these are the things I have to do in the morning when I wake up? I have to remember to do this. I have to remember to do that. I have to remember to do that. I heard a great conversation. I didn't include this in. I just heard this today. I had a great conversation that the best time of day to reset where you are is when you first wake up, within the first 10 minutes of when you wake up, and the last 10 minutes before you go to sleep. Because the bridge between your conscious and your subconscious is opened up. But if you lay in bed at night thinking about what you have to do tomorrow, your subconscious will be in anxiety all night long. Do you ever sleep all night and wake up going, why do I feel so tired? That's because your brain has been going over and over what you need to remember to do the next day. So we spend just as much time in our future. And then our present is filled with anxiety of what could be. Even though our body is here and now, how close is our mind, our thoughts? Which ones of you are dissecting the day and which ones of you are thinking about coming next? Regret, anxiety. Both rob us of the moment and both rob us of peace. But wait! There's more. That's not it. There's more. That's right. Just pay double shipping and handling and I'll give you a second one. An integral part of this regret and this anxiety is that of the presence of God. Not only are we here and now, but we are also in the presence of God. God is ever around us, inside us, embracing us, fighting for us. I love these two quotes from the scriptures, both from the Psalms. Psalm 139 is really powerful. If I ascend to heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in Sheol, in the dead, you are there? Where can I go that you are not? Nowhere. We are always in the presence of God. At no point ever are we outside of the presence of God. We are in the presence of God in our fear, in our anxiety, in our regret, our being, our work, our family, our love, our lives are encompassed by the presence of God. At no point ever are we outside of the presence of God. If we go to the top of the mountain, God is there. If we go to the depths of the dead, God is there. If we go into our deepest anxiety, God is there. If we go into our massive regret, God is there. Our anger, our hurt, our pain, our loss, our grief, our joy, our celebration, God is there. We are always in the presence of God. We are always in the intimate arms of God. Even if we feel alone, a failure, broken, exhausted, isolated, we are in God. And not as a be careful for Jesus is watching type of thing. Anybody ever hear that growing up? Remember, Jesus is watching. Remember, Jesus is watching. Did you hear that? Yeah. But there is nothing you can do or be that will drive you out of God's presence. There is nothing you can face or experience that God is going to say to you, nope, not anymore. There is no place you can go that God cannot go with you. You and I are always in the presence of God. And that presence is that warm blanket on the couch. That presence is those fuzzy slippers. That presence is our safety and our security. No matter what we face. God's love is so immense, so complete, and so deep that God will go with us wherever, no matter what. And God will never abandon us or leave us. Lack of peace, lack of balance, fear, anxiety are driven by the sense of loneliness and isolation and abandonment that God isn't there. But you're not worthy to be abandoned. That's not how God works. You are never isolated. God will never leave you. God will never force you to face these things alone. Whatever these things are. Whether they're massive or everyday. God does not weigh our worth based on what we do. God weighs our worth on who we are. Humans weigh the worth of another based on what they do. Actions are identity. But that is not so with God. God is not always with us because we deserve it. No, God is with us because we are loved. Even when we don't deserve it. Now there's a huge burden lifted from us. The path of peace, knowing that we have the maker of heaven and earth with us always, is powerful. And here's the other part. So does everyone else. You know, as I said, humans base worth on action. Identity on action. I remember once long ago, I've told you many stories of my first congregation. I remember once long ago in my first congregation, I was asked to do something and I forgot to do it. An unacceptable oversight. But unfortunately, in my frailty and in my humanity, I had failed. But unfortunately, then I was grilled and crucified for it. My worth was less than. my integrity damaged because of my forgetfulness. You say that is how humans deal with each other. Our actions equal our worth, which leads us to immense amounts of discord. If we can see that others, like ourselves, are in the continual presence of God, again, not because others' actions, but because of their being, their worth is weighed in the love of God, then we can see that the shortcoming, though may need to be addressed, are not that life-shattering and are not worthy of destroying relationship, destroying integrity, or causing hurt. If we are not wrapped in fear or regret, if we are not wrapped in anger and disappointment, then we can find peace. Once we can see ourselves in God's continual presence, undeserving but grace-filled, then we can get a glimpse that other people are too. And perhaps be less inclined to force them to live a deserving life when we know in fact that we cannot. We are always in the presence of God. And so are others. Not because of what we've done or they've done, but because we and they are loved. As a community, which we'll get to in a couple weeks, when we can embrace that we are all in this presence, then it can help us to let go and really engage the true challenge of loving each other enough to stand in the presence of God and offer to each other the grace that is offered to us. I don't know about you, but I'm in a whole lot more peace when I'm surrounded by and giving grace to the people that I love. And I can do that because I know that I'm in the presence of God. And I know that you are too. Remember, you're here now. And you're also always in the presence of God, which is an incredible and immense gift of freedom. Amen.